unless you're, of course, a long suit against no trump, it can be wonderful, but you have to have entries to your hand to be able to enjoy those tricks. So in general, if your hand is very distributional, if you're trying to defend with it, what's going to happen when you lead your long suits? If partner has any cards in those suits, then your tricks are liable to get roughed, and that's why distributional hands want to declare. But whereas when you're flat, it's very hard to collect tricks through length because you don't have any. You don't have any length. And tricks from length are often very important in trying to make a contract, even no trump. That's in general the philosophy on why you would want to do that. It's not true in every case. I mean, we all know there are no absolutes in bridge except for the rule of 11. And we'll get to that next week. But in general, if you're distributional, you would like to declare. If you're flat, you want to defend generally. That's a general rule. I also want to mention, in addition to length and shortness, that texture, that term that we use for how good our spot cards are and whether our honors are working together, whether they're in our long suits or our short suits, whether they're in the opponent's suit or in a suit that is unbid, is less important than, or less exact, I should say, than either high card points or length. Texture is a way of evaluating the intermediate cards in your hand. Intermediate cards in your hand can make all the difference in making a bid or not making it. I can't tell you how many times I have gone off because even though it looked like I had a contract that I should be able to make, my intermediates were so poor. Say I'm missing the ace, jack, 10, 9 of the trump suit. I have 8 of them, but we have only the king, queen, and 6 little spots. Well, a lot of times I end up going off when the texture of my hand isn't all that good. And unfortunately, that comes under the heading of hand evaluation. There's no specific quantifier for texture, but it can really make the difference in how high you can bid and expect to be successful. So, how about if we do some hands? That might make it a little more clear. I think that helps a lot. Kyle, did I answer your question? Kyle?
Yeah, that was great.
Okay. That, as I said, there are no absolutes. You have to use your judgment always. But, and as you play more, your judgment will get better. Now, you guys remember we were talking about evaluating our hands initially and then as responder as well. And if you look up here on the BBO screen, you can see we're starting with board 9 this week because we did the first 8 last week. North is the declarer. Anybody have any thoughts about what he might bid? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, I can't hear you. I hope everybody will agree that he bids 1 spade. Yeah, don't cover up a 6-card major suit to bid no trump, even if he had 15 points. Bidding 1 no trump with a 6-card minor is not outside the realm of possibility. But with a 6-card major, you want to open the major suit. Now then, I think everybody would agree that East would pass. I want to make a point here. I've seen a lot of you overcalling with suits like this club suit here. It's a very nice suit. Problem is, it requires a 2-level overcall. How many points does East need for a 2-level overcall? He needs 10 high card points and a 5-card suit, doesn't he? So a hand that's worth at least 11 points. And in a minor suit, I want a full opener myself. So this is a nice suit, but his hand is nowhere near strong enough to overcall at the 2 level. So he must pass. All right. Now let's look at the south hand here. This is where we really want to think about what we're going to do. This hand has 5 high card points in it. And if you didn't reevaluate your hand, you might say, oh, well, don't have 6 points, I can't bid. So what's wrong with that thought? What did he forget? He forgot to say, well, I have 3 cards in spades. That means I know there's an 8-card major suit fit. Now that I know there's a fit, I have a doubleton here. Nobody's bid it. Partner didn't bid it. So I'm going to give myself 1 point for that doubleton, and I'm going to bid 2 spades. Okay? Now, when we look at the next hand, 5, 13, 15 points here. This guy has a no trump opener. What do you think might happen if South had passed and West had this hand? He might want to bid either 2 hearts, or he has the ace of spades. He could certainly bid no trump over that opening bid. But now, since you've jumped here in and bid 2 spades, this makes life a little more difficult for him. He could certainly bid 3 hearts if he wanted to. I'd be a little reluctant to bid 2 no trump with this hand, though. He might could double, but he doesn't have 3-card support for clubs. And of course, that's the suit his partner's going to bid. You know that's the way it works. So it becomes very important for South to let partner know that there's a fit. And he gets there by reevaluating his hand in light of his partner's opening bid. Now let's back up for just a minute here and say, what if North had opened, instead of 1 spade, what if he had opened 1 heart? Now what are we going to do? Well, East is still going to pass. But we don't even have enough to bid 1 no trump here, do we? I mean, we've got 5 high card points. There are some people who will respond 1 no trump with 5 high card points. If you're going to do that, make sure your partner understands that you may do that. But now, because partner opened a heart, South now needs to pass. Now, obviously, the West hand is not going to look like this if partner opened a heart. But do you see how South's bid changes according to what his partner opens? He has to reevaluate his hand when he has only a doubleton. Now he can't count a point for the doubleton because that's partner's suit. That may seem elementary, but it makes all the difference in the world on the suit partner opens when looking at this South hands. This is a pretty doggy hand here. These are the kinds that it seems like I get all the time. But anyway, that's the point on this hand. Let's go on to the next one. All right, now East is the dealer, and I think everybody would agree that this is a 14-point hand, and it's 5, 4, 3, 1. There's quite a bit of shape in this hand, so this makes me happy. I like this kind of hand. I think everybody would agree that East would open 1 heart. He's got a 5th heart that gives him 15 points altogether, but this is, don't even think about anything other than a heart here. Now then, we come to the South hand. South has 6 clubs here. Is 2 clubs a weak bid here? 2 clubs is never a weak bid, is it? Some people might be tempted to bid clubs here, but once again, you have to bid at the 2 level, and you are vulnerable. That's another important consideration here. This hand is not worth anything. Can't double, can't bid, anything. It just needs to pass. All right, now then, let's think about what this West hand is worth.
We've got a question, Susan. We've got a question from Kyle. Kyle,
right.
If you would.
Even though you've only got 6 clubs, would a 3 club be not a good idea for misleading partners?
Well, look at the quality of the suit. A king empty suit, when you're vulnerable, if you and your partner have made that agreement, then and that anything goes with your preempts, then by all means consider it. But being vulnerable and not knowing what my partner has, I'm probably going to be a little bit conservative here. This hand, my suit needs to be better. For instance, take this Jack and 10 and put it in the club suit, and I'd give it very serious consideration. But this is a really crappy weak jump over call when you're vulnerable. Suit quality counts, guys. Partner may have only one or two of them. And when you're vulnerable, if somebody's sitting there with club honors and other stuff besides, and knowing the partner opened the bidding, is going to pull out that double card if you end up getting the bid. So doubled and vulnerable, you need to be careful about bidding this particular suit.
So it's the same idea about the disciplined week too that you do with the threes?
Well, yeah, in this case, you're vulnerable, and I would want to have at least two honors, and if I'm going to have a minor suit, I want a better quality suit than that. I mean, you're contracting to take 9 tricks with a 3-club bid, and you have no way of knowing if partner has any clubs even. I mean, you don't want to look for excuses not to bid, but this suit just isn't good enough. You have to draw the line somewhere, Kyle. Just because you have 6 or 7 clubs in your hand. Now, if I had a 7th club and I had another honor at the top, I'd probably do it. But this is really not a good quality suit for preempting, especially at the 3 level when you only have 6. And of course, that's necessary because of the fact it's clubs. So, all right, let's move on to the West hand here.
Susan, I have a question.
Yes, go right ahead.
I can't raise my hand because of the hosting, but it's pertaining to this. No, I'm sorry. I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, the West hand. Let's take a look here. Partners opened 1 heart. I see 8 high card points. Should I bid 2 hearts? Should I bid 1 spade? I could bid 1 spade, but if I'm counting only 8 points, I don't need to be bidding 1 spade, because when I take a preference back to hearts, that would be promising only 2 hearts opposite a weak hand. But I want to know what my hand is worth opposite a 1 heart opening bid. I see 8 high card points. I have a 5 card suit, but I'm not going to count for length, because I want to count shortness. How many points should we give ourselves for this hand? There are only 3 trumps in it, but boy, are they nice. Talk about fitting honors. King and queen in the suit that partner opened, even if he has only a jack high suit, you've got an excellent fit here. I'm going to give myself at least 4 points for the void, and probably 5. Simply because I have prime honors and I have pretty good spots here. I've got the 10 of spades, and I've got decent spots in diamonds. The suit obviously isn't very good, but maybe partner short or something like that. But I'm going to be inclined to bid 1 spade here, because I have reevaluated my hand. I think my hand is worth enough to come back around and bid 3 hearts, telling my partner I have a 3 card limit raise for him. Now we come to the North hand. Now I'll tell you what, folks, this club suit's good enough to bid. But should he bid a preempt, or should he just bid 2 clubs? What do you think? I think he has 11 high card points and a 6 card club suit. This hand is too good to preempt. I would just bid 2 clubs here. This hand is definitely good enough, even vulnerable. It's got some shortness. He's not crazy about the 4 hearts, but they got to be somewhere. So let's put 2 clubs in there. Now then, we come back around to East. What's he going to bid now? He doesn't have 6 hearts. He does not have 4 spades. I see a lot of you still raising 1 spade by responder on 3 cards. Don't do it. If you have, especially if you have another bid available, and you do, you can show your second suit here. 2 diamonds. And now then, South looks here and just salivates. He knows his partner has at least 5 clubs, and he's got a whole passel of them. I wouldn't bid anything less than 4 clubs with this hand. It doesn't have a lot of points, but boy, does it have a lot of trumps. You can be trump poor, that's for sure, and they probably are going to be, but we've got a huge fit here. Besides, we want to make life difficult, don't we? And Wes says, oh yeah, right. No wonder that they have a big fit in clubs. Well, I've got a fit with my partner in hearts, and I've got a fit with my partner in diamonds. Now, all of a sudden, instead of bidding 3 hearts, I am more than comfortable bidding 4 hearts. You see how the value of this hand has gone up in light of the fit in the second suit here? He knows partner's got at least 4 diamonds, and he's got 5. He's got a fit in hearts, and he has a decent spade suit. Nobody else evidently has much in the way of spades. So he just says, partner, I think we can make 4 hearts. Now it comes down to, are North-South going to sacrifice in clubs, or are they going to pass and let East-West play 4 hearts? This hand makes 5 hearts or 5 spades, and it makes 4 clubs. So it's important to support when you have support, but when you have better than a minimum, this West hand is better than a minimum in support of hearts or spades, either one. So he could jump to 3 hearts the first time. Would North jump in with 4 clubs at this point? I don't know. Depends on how much of a gambler he is. West could keep him out of the bidding by jumping to 3 hearts, but it is more accurate when you have an invitational hand to bid another suit and then raise hearts, showing only 3 cards. I would not object to a 3-heart bid here. I just don't have any idea that this guy's gonna overcall with clubs. If I did, I would bid 3 hearts to try to keep him from doing it. But when I'm bidding, I want to describe my hand to my partner as accurately as possible. So that's why I would bid a spade first, planning to jump to 3 hearts with my next bid. Unfortunately, my rude opponent has made that rather impossible because he's uncovered a fit between North-South. But I don't have a problem bidding 4 hearts here, not at all, because I know that my diamonds are going to help my partner out. So anybody have any questions about this one? This one's a little more involved than
Yes,
some of the.
Terry Green has a question.
All right, Terry?
Terry, if you could.
Yes.
You got
My question is if South had a high 2 club hand, can they bid the high 2 club after East is already opened?
Oh, well, yeah, if he had a better suit, he's got 6 clubs. And if he had 10 high card points instead of 7, then he can bid 2 clubs. And I would not bid 3 clubs with this hand, showing a preemptive natured hand because the suit quality is so poor. I mean, king empty, when you're bidding at the 3 level, generally you have a 7-card suit. If you have only 6 of them, you want it to be a decent 6-card suit. King empty is just, but if he did have a hand worth 10 or 11 points, by all means, he should bid 2 clubs.
Well, I'm actually thinking about the high 2 club bid with what, 22 points?
Oh, you mean oh no, if he had 22 points, he would start with a double. Remember when we have more than our stated overcall range, most of us use oh, 7, I use 7-ish, my card says 7-ish to 17. If he had 22, if he had 18 or more high card points, he would start with the double.
Oh, okay. And Tom had a question. He's sitting here too.
Yes.
Okay.
My question is, north-south, I don't know if they know, do they know that they cannot get their 5-club bid? Either way, the question is, bidding 5 clubs and failing might pay off more than letting 4
Well, sure.
Or
Sure it would. Sure
parts.
it would.
succeed.
North would have to be the one to bid it because he knows that his partner passed the first time around.
And North has this opportunity at this point.
Yeah, North it's up to North here to choose whether or not to sacrifice. Since South passed the first time, he knows it probably is a sacrifice, and he suspects that his partner is short in hearts. Knowing that, and the fact that he is short in diamonds, makes him all the more likely to bid 5 clubs. If I were holding the North hand, I would certainly, I mean, it would take a lot for me to say, no, I'm not going to bid 5 clubs here.
I was
And then
counting on you to say that.
Yeah. Well, Tom, you don't need any encouragement to bid 5 clubs there, do you?
No, but I wanted approval.
Oh, okay. Well, and then it's going to be up to East West to decide whether to go on in hearts. They can make 5 hearts. They lose only, let's see, they lose a diamond and at least, and then they lose the ace of spades because they can throw losing diamonds here on these spades once they get the ace knocked out. So they can make 5 hearts. But this is where some skill at hand evaluation comes in. A lot of people would not be willing to bid 5 hearts after North-South bid 5 clubs because they think, well, we're trading a positive for a negative here. So this is why hand evaluation skills are so important. I would most likely bid 5 clubs knowing that my partner has to be short in hearts and that he has a whole bunch of clubs over there.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, well, sometimes you choose not to when you have defense. Donna's made a good point here. Notice how distributional this hand is. I would not, having a singleton club and knowing that my partner probably doesn't have very many, would make me reluctant not to bid 5 hearts with this hand. But my partner's bid spades, and I've got a decent diamond suit. I don't know. It would require a lot of thought, and probably whatever I chose would be wrong. But then that's, some days are like that. You tend to think, North would tend to think, since he has 6 clubs and his partner gave him such a nice raise, a preemptive raise, that they're long on clubs. He's short in diamonds, partner has to be short in hearts. So he's looking at having a shot at making 5 clubs. A lot depends on how aggressive a bidder you are, what your style is. There are conservative bidders and players who do very well, thank you very much, because they avoid the large losses. And then there are aggressive bidders and players who do very well also. So it's just a matter of what your preference is on some cases. Let's go on to the next one. That one had a lot of meat in it.
Oh,
didn't it?
we still have some questions, Susan.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Let's do these one at a time. I'm going to start up in the corner with, I think, Pat had a question, Kyle does, and Norm does. So we'll just,
Okay.
Pat, if you would be, when it's your turn to speak, Kyle and Norman, you'll be sure to unmute. But Pat, you have the floor.
Okay, on round 10, when we were looking at before South did the initial bid of, the initial bid of declare of, I think it was East, 1 heart. Are you supposed to evaluate your hand for your second bid to know if you have a second bid? Because
Well,
if I don't have
yes.
6.
Yeah, when you don't have 6 cards in your major suit, you have to be, for instance, if partner bids 1 spade, many times you can rebid 1 no trump when you have a balanced hand. This hand is not balanced though. And when it's not balanced, that generally will mean that you will have a 4-card suit to bid the second time around. East showed 5 hearts and at least 4 diamonds. He may have 5 diamonds. If he bids them again, that means he has 5 diamonds also. So definitely you need to look at what your rebid is. That is an important consideration on whether to open a hand that is dubious. Absolutely. Good question. Who's next?
Let's see, Kyle Forster.
Yeah.
Kyle, so
yeah,
Kyle, go ahead.
you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm not totally convinced that maybe some players would be able to make 5 clubs on that contract. I think it really
They would if there would if there's a defensive error. That's the thing. But four clubs, I mean, obviously you're not going to lose any clubs. You're going to lose 1 diamond, 1 heart, and then you've got a spade loser that you don't have anywhere that you can park. Remember, in the north hand, we had an ace doubleton of spades, 4 small hearts, a stiff diamond, and 6 clubs. So you have, and in the south hand, we have 3 small spades. You have a spade loser you can't get rid of.
You see, what I was thinking, Susan, is you're going to get the lead with the spades, and you're only going to lose 2 tricks at most up until then. And if you can get the trumps out, you've got good diamonds underneath it where you can toss that last spade, maybe.
Well, you're only going to lose 1 diamond. So you can only lead diamonds off once from the north hand. Certainly you can lead the 2 diamonds, and it'll be up to East whether he goes up with the ace or not. But then to lead diamonds again, you have to be on the board. And when you're leading from the board with either the king, jack 10 or the king 10, you have to lead one of those honors. And that's going to limit your ability to do that. Now, obviously you have transportation with the clubs, but if you can develop a diamond trick and get back there, then you could pitch it. But I think that, I don't know. I think that once the defenders take a heart trick, that they're probably going to lead a spade, especially after they see the dummy and get their spade trick set up. So I think that you will not have time to pitch it. It's a good thought about how you might make it, but I think that you won't have time to pitch it, would be my guess. Could be wrong. Double dummy says 4 clubs is all it makes. But there's always the possibility of a defensive error, as in not setting up a spade after you have taken your heart trick. Once you see the heart singleton on the board, you've got to switch. And East is not going to lead from the ace queen into that king jack 10 on the board. So he will probably put the queen of spades on the table after that and drive out the ace of spades. And then when they get back in with a diamond, then they have a spade trick to take, because the declarer in that case has to lose a diamond in order to set the suit up. So, as I said, defensive error, not leading a spade at trick 2 would enable you to make it. But if the defense is on their toes, you won't make it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Norm, if you'll unmute and unmute your, unmute yourself, Norm, and Susan will answer your question. We can't hear you, Norm. You're muted and you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay. My question may be naive, but couldn't West respond with 4 hearts, given that he has a 13-point hand and he assumes that opener
No, Norm, That
Yeah.
describes a hand. 1 heart, 4 hearts describes a hand that has 5 trumps in it and about 7 points. This hand is much too good to do that. You reserve that 1 heart, 4 heart bid for the weak freak. And you often end up missing slams when you do that, because partner is going to assume that you have the weak freak when you do that. So when you have good trump support and you have a hand that is worth more than 7 or 8 points, you don't do it. Don't do it. You end up missing slams, and people who fail to bid their games and their slams, when the rest of the field does bid the games and the slams, don't end up doing very well. So accuracy in bidding is more important. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's go on to board 11. This one's interesting. Here we have South as the dealer, and I think that all of you would agree. Let's see, he's got 13 and 6 is 19 highs, and then he's got 1 here for length. I wouldn't argue with anybody who wanted to open 2 no trump with this. It's got 19 highs, but 3 of them come from a stiff king of diamonds, and I probably would, especially when I have this nice 5-card major, I would probably opt for 1 heart. There are some people who would open this 2 no trump. I just don't happen to be one of them. So now we look at the West hand, and he says, oh, I got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. I will not be bidding with this. And now let's look at the North hand. He only has 3 high card points here. What do you think? Should he pass with 3 high card points? I mean, he's got a doubleton and he's got a singleton. He has a great big long spade suit, but he doesn't have enough points to bid spades and then bid hearts. So out of all the possible responses, pass gets a 0. Simply because I've got 4-card heart support. I've got a singleton that I'm giving myself 3 points for. I'm giving myself another point for the doubleton, so that adds 3 points for it, and I'd even give myself a point for having an honor here in partner suit. This is a really nice fitting honor. So I'm going to bid 2 hearts at the very least, and some people would bid 3, but they have other ways of showing limit raises when they do that. So I'm going to say in this case, he should bid 2 hearts without a doubt. Now then, let's back it up. What if instead South opened 1 spade? Now what's this hand worth? Norm, what was that you were saying a minute ago? Why not just bid 4? This is the kind of hand that, especially not vulnerable. My goodness, my partner has 5 spades and I've got 6. I have shortness over here. This is the kind of hand that would bid 4 spades. You would like to have more points, but in this case, I'm shutting my eyes and doing it, because if my partner opens a spade, I suspect that the opponents have a big fit someplace else, and I would just rather that they didn't find it, because that would enable them to take the bid. Now, East, who has this nice hand over here, has to guess what to do at the 5 level. I don't know about you, but I don't like that bidding situation. East would probably end up saying, well, should I bid 5 diamonds or should I just call it a day? But do you see how partner's opening bid changes everything? And that bid that Norm was talking about is perfect for this kind of situation. Guess what? 4 hearts and 4 spades both make here. You can see these diamonds here. It's possible even that they don't lose a diamond trick. But 4 hearts and 4 spades both make, simply because of the wildly distributional nature of this hand. It looks like a really bad hand, But in support of hearts or spades, it's really good. But what if partner opened a diamond or a club? Then what? Let's see what we think about that. That changes things, doesn't it? What if partner opened, let's say, let's be generous down here and say he opens a club. Now then, West is still going to pass, but he's salivating. Look at those clubs he has. Now, what would you do here? Some people would take a chance and bid a spade. Others might take a chance and bid a heart. That is really, really risky. I personally would not do it. If partner came back and bid another suit, say if he has a 4-card heart or spade suit and he bids it, then I would certainly support him. But after he opens a minor suit, now all of a sudden this hand just isn't worth much because he knows of no fit. Partner may have a whole big string of clubs over there because you've only got one. You're not sure whether this is a real club suit or not. So in this event now, instead, he passes. That makes sense?
Yeah, we have Kyle, go ahead, unmute, please. Yeah.
What about a weak jump to 2 spades?
Okay, if you play weak jump shifts, this is an ideal place for it. Say for instance, not everybody does, but a bid of 2 spades here says, partner, I'm too weak to bid 1 spade. I have 6 cards. We are playing it here. Fold them up. And unless partner has a really strong hand, he should do just that. This jump from 1 to 2, as long as it's a jump, some people still play this jump shift as strong, a jump shift by responder as strong. If you do that, you should alert it. If you play a weak jump shift, you should alert it. But this says 2 to 5 points, which fits here, and a 6-card suit. Notice he would not bid 2 hearts. He would bid 2 spades and expect partner to pass unless he had a really, really fine hand. This is a fine hand here. He might think about bumping the spades here. As we know, it makes 4 spades, but after South opens a club, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get there. Okay, good question, Kyle. Anybody else have a question?
Real quick on that same thing. When you do a weak jump shift, do you still kind of follow the disciplined weak 2s where you want 2 of the top 3 or 3 of the top 5 honors?
Well, it all depends on how badly you want to convey the nature of your hand. If you don't bid 2 spades with this hand, assuming you use weak jump shifts, you don't have a bid. So you have to take a choice between bidding this suit as a weak jump shift, or the maximum number of points you're promising is 5. So you can't have a whole lot. It would be better to have that queen in the spade suit. But if you're going to use a weak jump shift, you have to bid 2 spades here. Would I do that? Not vulnerable. I'd give it serious thought. If we were vulnerable, I'd probably pass. So, okay. Any other questions? All right. Let's go on to this next one here. We need to go on to board 12, don't we?
Thank you, Kay. We saw your clapped hands. That was great. Thank you.
That
All
was
righty.
just a hand up.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
had a question.
What's that?
How do you alert a weak jump shift?
Same way you alert anything else. When you have your bid box in front of you, the alert is down there, and you just type weak jump shift in it and then click alert and it'll pop up to the table. Or if you play strong jump shifts by responder, you should alert that as well and say strong. And remember, if you're playing weak jump shifts or strong jump shifts, that is a partnership agreement. And that includes weak jump shifts. Some partners would rather that you not bid with 2 to 5 points. So make sure you and your partner are clear on that. All righty, now West is the dealer. I tend to like these 5-card majors here, so I think everybody would agree that he would open 1 heart, right? Okay. Now then we come to the North hand, and he says, well, nope, nothing for me. Now then, here we have the East hand. What do we think? How many high card points does he have? He has 6, 8, 9 points. Should we count this Jack Doubleton? First off, do we have a fit? We have a fit, don't we? We have a fit in hearts. How many hearts should we bid? Well, we don't want to count 6, 8, 9, and then 1 for the Doubleton. If you come up with 10 points and 4 card support, what should you bid? You should bid 3 hearts, shouldn't you?
Yes.
Now, if South passes, here we have West with a hand worth 14 points when you count that 5th heart. What's he going to do when he gets an invite when he has 14 points? I don't know about anybody else, but when I get an invite and I have 14 points, I bid game. What happens if he bids 4 hearts, folks? No spade losers, no heart losers, but we have 2 clubs we have to lose, right? Do we have a diamond loser? We do. And we have we do have a heart loser. I'm sorry. We have the ace of hearts. We have to lose. Do we have a parking place for that diamond loser? We can't avoid the ace of trumps, right? Can't avoid the ace and king of clubs. And we have no place to park this diamond loser. Look what happens if you count this Jack and you count the Doubleton. Jack Doubletons in general are worthless. So either count the Doubleton or count the Jack and say this hand is worth 9 points and bid 2 hearts, not 3. Because I guarantee you, I mean, if I'm holding this hand over here and you bid 3 hearts, I'm bidding 4. And 4 hearts has absolutely no chance because responder has overvalued his hand. And it's right here in this Jack Doubleton. Jack Doubletons seldom are where I don't ever count a point for a Jack Doubleton. Once my partner and I have a fit, I'll count for the Doubleton, but I seldom count for the Jack. So everybody see the difference here and why it's important to be accurate on these hand evaluations? You can get too high being overly aggressive in hand evaluation, just as you can miss games or slams by not being aggressive enough. It is a fine line, hand evaluation is, but you have to be careful on both ends. Anybody have a question about that one? If not,
Yes, I have
what's
a
your question? What's your question?
What would you, opener would respond with 3 hearts or pass? Or go to-
No, opposite 2 hearts,
Yes.
I would pass. I don't have enough to remember to invite to game opposite a minimum response requires a hand worth 17 or 18 points. You do not bid once partner has shown you a minimum response and you have a minimum opener, that's a sign that you belong in a part score contract. You do not invite as opener with a hand worth 14 points unless your partner has given you an invitation.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha. Okay. Now then, let's look at hand 13. We're back to North, we're back to North again. And North has a nice 5-card heart suit. He has 7, 12, 14 highs, 1 for length. Just as a matter of explanation, I count only high card points when I'm going to open a no trump, so I would open that one 1 heart. Now then, I think everybody here at the group would agree that a nice 10-point hand with 5 spades in it, 1 level, that's definitely worth a 1 spade overcall. All right, now let's look at South's hand. He's got a singleton king of spades. He has support for his partner. In general, when you have a singleton honor, a lot of people will subtract 1 point from the honor count that it's worth. So some people would call this 2, 3, 4. Look where I'm sitting. I'm sitting behind the spade bidder. He's missing the king. I know that for sure. So what's he going to have to do? He's probably going to have to take a finesse, isn't he? So I think this king is in a pretty good spot. So I'm going to say that this is worth 3 points. Now I have 3 card support here for hearts. I would like to raise my partner. Some people would not raise with it. This is a bit of a mess, isn't it? A king, a singleton king, and 2 jacks. But I like to support with support. So I would probably bid 2 hearts with that. A lot of people wouldn't. I'm not telling you it's wrong to pass. But I believe in support with support, even when I am minimum. Now then we come to the West hand. This guy has 4 card spade support and 11 high card points, and he has a doubleton heart. Where's he sitting in relation to the heart bidder? He's sitting in front of the heart bidder, isn't he? Does that make this king vulnerable? You bet it does. It makes the king vulnerable. You don't know whether partner has a full opening hand or whether he has just his lousy 8 that he usually has when he overcalls at the 1 level. But you have support, and you definitely want to tell partner about it. In this case, matter of how much value you want to give to that king of hearts. I tend to think that that king of hearts is worthless, unlike this king of spades here. Now, it's not outside the realm of possibility that the ace of hearts is over here in the south hand. But since North opened 1 heart, I tend to think I'm not sitting in a good spot. I would bid at least 2 spades here. But since you're vulnerable, bidding 3 spades is a bit risky, opposite an overcaller, but you have 4 card support. You know you have 9 together. So I wouldn't disagree with 3 spades. I wouldn't disagree with 2 spades. I would probably lean toward 3 spades, simply because I like to bid to the total number of trump that partner and I have. And you do have 11 highs and a doubleton. But as I said, this king of hearts may or may not be worth anything. This hand makes 3 spades by east-west. It only makes 2 hearts by north-south. And especially if this guy bids 3 spades, you think he's going to bid 4 hearts opposite a minimum response from his partner? Not likely. Not likely. He has a minimum opening hand. And to compete to 4 hearts, vulnerable, would just prompt somebody to pull out the double card. So, do you see how important it is to evaluate where your honors sit? It's not always this clear cut. And of course, it's not a guarantee that anybody is going to have the ace when they open the suit. There's a chance that the ace of spades is here in the west hand, but south, knowing that he's sitting behind the overcaller, has a better than even chance of getting a trick with that king. If it were a queen, ooh, all of a sudden you have to think, no, probably not going to get it. May or may not get it. But it's not as clear cut as when it's a king. Let's go on to one more and then we'll break to go register for the game. This is Saturday morning, the 26th of September. Let's see. East Open is the opening bidder, and he's going to pass. I think everybody would agree. I think everybody would agree that South passes. He's got 2 bullets, but nothing else. And now here we have West. Does he have a nice hand? You bet he does. 10, 15, 18 highs, and 2 for length. My goodness. That is really a nice hand. I would not argue with a 2 no trump opening here, except that you have 6 hearts. So I'm going to open a heart here rather than 2 no trump. It is permissible to open no trump with 2 doubletons in your hand. I don't like this much, but you know, we open no trump with a worthless doubleton. North passes. He doesn't have anything to say. And now East responds 1 spade. He has more than enough to respond, right? This is the kind of hand in the West hand over here that makes me say when I look at it, if my partner so much as twitches, I'm bidding game. Well, East is going to twitch here. He's going to bid a spade. South passes again. And now what's North's bid? We said he had 18 highs and 2 for length. What kind of hand does that give him? Minimum, medium, or maximum? It's a maximum hand, isn't it? My partner has shown that he has 6 points. I have what is known as a self-sufficient suit. That means it can play well opposite a singleton or a void. This is what's known as a self-sufficient suit. It is just pretty much solid. And I have really, really nice honors outside my heart suit. What should he rebid? How many hearts? If he bids 3 hearts, partner can pass. Remember, 3 hearts is an invitation and can be passed. If I'm holding this hand, I'm bidding 4 hearts. Now, if West bid 3 hearts over a spade with 2 hearts showing 6 hearts and a medium hand, that would be a hand worth 17 or 18 total points. 6, 7, 8 with 8 points and an outside doubleton. He shouldn't even think twice about bidding 4 hearts. But it's just like I've always said, if you give your partner a chance to make a mistake, he probably will. So when you know you have game, you bid it. He who knows goes. At that game on the 26th, there was only 1 pair that was in game. And I think that you can see that it makes without any problem. There's 1 spade loser, no hearts. The king of clubs is finessable, and there's the diamond ace that we have to lose. It makes 5. You can pick up that king. Yes, okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, from Kyle. Kyle, go ahead.
Would it be wrong to open 2 clubs as West since you only have 4 losers?
Well, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be absolutely wrong. I don't know. I would think about it. Let's see, it would go 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, 2 spades. That's a 5-card suit, so he could bid spades. And then you would end up in the same place. The problem is that you only have 18 high card points, but if partner takes you for 22 and he says, my hand's worth 10 points, he's liable to bid 4 no trump. Now, the good thing is that since you have only 1 ace over here, you can stop in 5 hearts. 2 clubs overstates the value of this hand just a little bit. because if I hold this hand right here and my partner opens 2 clubs and rebids 2 hearts and then bids hearts again, I'm going to put down 4 no trump. Well, no, I won't either, because I have a worthless doubleton in diamonds. I will not do that. Take it back. I will not put down 4 no trump. I might bid 5 clubs though, showing my ace of clubs. And
which board was this? On?
This was board 1, Saturday morning, the 26th. Does everybody see the difference? When you have a worthless doubleton, when you've agreed on trumps, a new suit shows a control here. So especially at the 5 level, once partner has bid hearts, it's pretty clear that hearts is the trump suit. So 5 clubs. West doesn't have another ace outside the trump suit to show. He might, if he bids diamonds showing his king, then partner's going to get really excited. But a slam is an overbid, obviously. But in this case, I would probably open 1 heart. You would get to the contract opening 2 clubs because there are only 4 losers, but sometimes partners mistake the number of points that you have. When you rebid a suit, often it's a long suit, and that means that you have few losers because of distribution rather than controls. So bidder's choice, Kyle. I would prefer 1 heart in that instance. When I open 2 clubs, I like to have some defensive tricks in my hand, more than I have in this hand. That's a distinction that I wouldn't expect you guys to make for another 2 or 3 years yet. But when I open 2 clubs, I like to have more than what I have outside. I would like to have another ace at least, and maybe 2 more aces. Maybe instead of the king, queen of diamonds, have that ace, and maybe have the ace of clubs as well, just because that would make me more comfortable doing it. Yeah, I personally prefer 1 heart here. It is not wrong. You would not get scolded by the director for opening 2 clubs with this hand, because it falls within the parameters according to the ACBL's convention charts. But there's not really enough defensive tricks in this hand for me to consider it. There's more to it than just the number of losers, but we're getting into really, really fine distinctions on hand evaluation here, and I don't want to take people down the road here when I don't want you to worry about it just yet. Just make sure that when you have 22 plus points, that you remember to open 2 clubs. That's what I'm after these days, and that responder remembers that, except in very unusual circumstances, he's going to respond 2 diamonds. So, well, let's everybody go get registered for the game and get ready to play. Next week we're going to talk about the no trump bidding ladder, and also the rule of 11. The rule of 11 is very, very helpful in both playing and defending. So I think you will like it a lot. And then we're going to talk about how many no trump shows what after somebody has opened 1 no trump or even 2 no trump. So we'll see you guys next week, and I hope most of you can stay and play in the game, but I would understand if you think you have to go watch OU in Texas. Go Sooner.